Hey there, hey, it's Michelle with Brilliant Quest. And today I want to tell you why the lazy are winning. Now, let me fess up. I can be lazy. Oh, yes, I can. And I have noticed that over the years, when I look back on my come ups, on my biggest things, I have learned that it was really kind of like instigated. This success was instigated because I was being lazy. Now, I want to clarify. I'm not talking about lazy meaning you're slothful, meaning that you won't do something, that you're slow to do it and you halfway do it. No, I'm talking about this little insight that is hidden in the fact that we can learn a lot from people who are quote unquote what society deems as lazy. Now, let me set this up. I'm gonna give you 4 different little parts so that you can understand what I'm talking about. And one of the ways I want to do this is I want to chunk them into these sections. So first and foremost, and this is not all inclusive, but this is going to let you know how you can start winning like the lazy. Okay, so first of all, the lazy can be very focused. And I'm looking at my notes, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. All right, they can be very focused. They can also they have really good finding abilities. They can function and fixate. That's one of them. And then they finish strong. All right. So when we're talking about the lazy, we're talking about usually, and I want to qualify this because I'm not talking about slothful people who just don't want to do work. They always trying to find an excuse. You can tell a slothful person from a lazy person because a slothful person usually makes more work for themselves and they make it harder on themselves. The lazy are people that are usually highly, not genius, they can be, but they are highly intuitive, innovative, and I guess I'll give it to them, ingenious. And I say that because the lazy, they don't really cotton to unnecessary work and unnecessary labor. The lazy are more so about using their mental capacity to try to figure out something as opposed to just going in there and just working and toiling and hoping. And I remember when I was a kid and had to read Huckleberry Finn. Now, I don't remember all of the story because I kind of was having a problem with what he was calling his black friend. But as a kid, I remember I was like, he is so lazy, but he got so much done. All right, so let me just give you these points because I'm telling you, even if you just use one of these, it's going to help you to get stuff done. It's going to help you to really up your game. All right, so with the lazy, under the section of focus, what they do is they are able to really understand that they must be, and I know y'all like, oh, she love that be do have, but it's the truth. It's the truth. They are really good at shifting to the right priority of being before they do. And when they focus on this, they're able to enhance their mental power so that when they take action, it is powerful action. So it's actually something that corporations know. They're like, give me the mentally inquisitive. They can be lazy, but give me the mentally inquisitive and they will outwork others that just are, worker bees or drones or whatever. And so when they focus on finding how to do something out of who they are and not out of what they can do. So they have proper alignment when it comes to it. Now that's important because the next one is they are able to find the shortest and straightest path to the promise. And one thing that I have found that when I'm quote unquote being lazy, meaning that I don't want to have to do all this work. I don't want to have to do all this work. I don't want to have to, kill myself trying to hurry up and get something done. There's got to be a better way. I have fallen into being lazy on the good side. And these are the attributes now. You'll find that lazy people who only want to do it right the first time, they're not going to expend a lot of physical energy. They're going to expend mental energy to think of clever ways to do something. So they tend to strategize and get their tactics together. They tend to understand that they must be process driven instead of just passion driven. And then they have to become leverage experts. Now, remember I talked about, I mentioned Huck Finn, and I was like, he's lazy. One of the things that I noticed was that he was an expert of leveraging when he had to paint the fence. And he didn't want to paint that fence. What did he do? The exact same things I'm telling you about with the lazy. He first focused on his being true to himself. I don't want to paint this fence. And then he found a solution by getting his friends he turned it into a fun activity so that if y'all help me with this, then we could go fishing, playing or whatever. So he was able to become an expert and a master at leverage. What is that? One finger can't beat the power of a fist. And so he was able to do that. And then this is another thing about when you're quote unquote lazy, you tend to use your thoughts and your ability to cleverly put things together to become more efficient and effective. You see, the lazy do not want to expend time for reward. They want to get, like I said, to the shortest path to the promise. Okay. So the next part is their almost fixation to the way they function when it comes to their curiosity. Now, in another video, I talked about the 2 types of curiosity because I'm a very curious person. And I talked about increasing your curiosity quotient. Well, wouldn't you know, the most effective lazy people that are out here winning have mastered both. And they know when and which one to use. And those two types of curiosity are, you have the first type that is about the why. Why does something happen or work? They're going to be the people who, when a new technology comes out, they're going to take their screwdriver and open it up because they want to see why is this in existence? How does this work? And they are all about understanding it. Lazy people, in that first part where they focus, this is where, when they are in that curiosity, they're turning something around to figure out its components and what they can do to either replicate it or understand it so that they can conquer it. And so when they are fixated on the curiosity, they know when to use that. But this is the bigger one, the second type of curiosity. And that kind of curiosity is the what. That curiosity is totally focused on the finish. It is focused on, what can I do to produce? What can I do to create, to bring this into fruition? And that is a curiosity that is a driver that a lot of lazy people, and when I say lazy, I am not talking about that they are physically slothful. I am talking about they don't run around doing unnecessary stuff. They will pause and focus and then find the solution that gets them to the closest. Because they have no problems with failure. They're willing to go through it if it is purposeful. And so when they are in this fixation of curiosity, they're figuring out the situation. They're the person in the back listening to y'all doing all this stuff, and they look like they're unengaged, but their wheels turning in their mind to figure out all the different points of view. And that's another thing. When this curiosity, when they figure out this curiosity, then that's when they start to function in this way that becomes done. The word done is their rally cry. They are, how can I say it? Because I marvel at it. I have been taught by the truly lazy that, girl, you ain't lazy, you would just be a slothful. That's how I know the difference, because thinking for them is the pathway to get something done. Like I said, they have this proper priority. They understand I gotta be it before I will do it. They don't allow themselves to just start running around and doing stuff so they can feel like they're doing stuff. Lazy people are not about busy work. Busy work is the garlic to their vampire. Busy work is the sickness to their wellness. So they are not about that busy life. And so they will fixate. Now, let me recap real quick. So we've talked about the lazy. First and foremost, they have the power of focus. And when they focus, it is all about getting into the essence of them and who they really are. You can even say that focus helps them to reestablish or reaffirm their identity, that they don't do foolery. They don't do foolery. That's not them. They are not about foolery. When they focus, it is about, okay, this is me. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm not doing. And they stand on it. They stand on their business of being them. And that drives them to where they are able and willing to find the way and the path to get to what they want. Remember, they are all about the straightest path to the promise. They become leverage experts, and they are all about process over passion, because for them, they need to be highly effective and efficient. If you give a lazy person a task and you give a worker bee drone person a task, the worker bee drone person is going to put in overtime. They're going to put in all this effort in. And that lazy person, they might not even get started while this worker bee is doing all this foolishness. But guess what? It's going to be done. And usually it's going to be done in an ingenious, innovative way that disrupts the way everybody was doing it. Because remember, I told you, lazy people are really good about taking knowledge and all of this information and condensing it into the most compact and powerful, most effective and efficient way to get something done. And that is because, 3, they fixate and function. They fixate on the curiosity points, the 2 of them. They fixate on, and they're really good at knowing which one to employ at what time. So which type of curiosity they're going to engage in is kind of determined by their focus. They're going to ask themselves, like, do I need to know this? I worked with this guy who tipped me off to this years ago. And Matt Goldberg, if you're out there, thank you. Because he totally flipped my world. He would say things, we'd be in meetings, and he'd be leaning back, eyes half closed, listening. Or so I thought. That thing was over there scheming. And he would ask things like, well, why do I need to do that? I already have that information. He would say stuff like, wouldn't it be better if we do X, Y, and Z? And he could always tell you why he wanted to do X, Y, and Z. And when you're talking in corporate, he was smart enough to know, if we try X, Y, and Z, we don't have to pay for this just to explore stuff that we already have the data on. And so I was amazed at first. And then I said, girl, there's a reason why you're around Matt. You better learn. And that's what I did. And nowadays I see this happening. You see people breaking out and you're like, how did they do that? And when you go back 9 times out of 10, you're going to find out that they focused on aligning themselves and understanding what they were and were not willing or able to do to achieve their goal. You're going to understand that they found the shortest pathway to the promise. They didn't get waylaid by passion or high emotions. They were all about process and systems and only taking the necessary steps to be the most effective and efficient. You're going to find that they fixated on figuring out what they needed to know and explore about the situation, whether they use the first kind of curiosity of breaking it down to its components so that they could really understand it, and then moving to the curiosity that drives you forward, the curiosity of figuring out what's the best way. Is somebody else doing this? That's when that research comes in, when you're benchmarking and trying to see if something's been done before. If it hasn't, figuring out how to become novel in your approach based on not expending a lot of energy. Because remember, you got to be there. Lazy folks are experts when it comes to leveraging resources, leveraging time, leveraging all the things to get the biggest bang for the buck with the least amount of efforting. And then the next thing is done is their rally cry. Yeah, they are not sidetracked by all of the woos and the stuff. They're like, no, I want to get this done because the faster I get this done, the faster y'all leave me alone, I go do what I want. Okay, a lot of times doing what they want is thinking. Yeah, it's being able to think and spend time doing what they want for their pleasure, if you will. And then they are all about finishing. That's the fourth one, finishing. And so they want to finish as quickly as possible. And they don't get tripped up by analysis paralysis. They don't get tripped up by perfectionistic. They are the people who will release an MVP, a most viable product, and then watch it do the work so that they can know where to tweak it. They understand themselves well enough to be fine with, fine with failing until they succeed. But their failures are not like everybody else's. Their failures are not based on trying to just figure it out as you go, per se. Their failures are based on making adjustments. And there's a difference. When I started doing this, and like I said, this is helping me too, because I'm at this particular time, I'm new at these YouTube streets, and I am learning that the people who are making the most of it and serving everyone as I'm trying to serve very well, they are working on systems and process to take away all that unnecessary busy work. They are allergic to busy work. I have become allergic to busy work. So I am determined to act like them and stop being a drone or a worker bee. And so that brings me to this next part of about the practical application of why lazy people are winning and what we can do to follow in their footsteps. So the first thing is the misnomer of lazy people don't work. That's not true. Slothful people don't work. Lazy people are all about that. Let's get it done the best way we can as we go. But they don't get into imposter syndrome. They don't get into busy work. They don't get into the traps of perfectionism or analyzing, everything to death. They don't do that. They remember that they're only going to allow themselves to do something out of who they are. They're only going to proceed by understanding the straightest path and then putting that into action, allowing it to fail so they can tweak it as they go. So they might not start as soon as you do because they're not about that busy life. And so that's one of the things that we can learn. Do not just jump into something. Be like the lazy and look at it from different points of view. Look at it to see if there are things when you become curious, figure out, what do I need to know? Like Matt said, what do I need to know about this? Okay, I've identified that this is what I need to know about this. All this other stuff, forget that. And then they realize what is needed to be done to get to finish. Remember, done is the rally cry. Their focus is on the process to get them finished because they ain't trying to fool with you all that time. They want to be left alone. Okay. And when I reread Sherlock Holmes recently, because I am all about this life, because I don't have a lot of time to be fooling around like I used to. I just got to get stuff done, right? I noticed because that was the filter. Sherlock is lazy. Sherlock would not get up and do something until he had gotten that plan in his mind. And if anybody were to say, name an attribute of the fictitious and famous, detective Sherlock Holmes, lazy would not have been one of them. And that's another insight and wisdom that I want to share about the lazy. The lazy will outwork you when they're interested, because they are driven by done, they are driven by solving, they are driven by finished. And so they have a momentum like no one else when it comes to pursuing and to getting, especially if it's something that they instigate and that they're interested in. Think about it. Have you ever seen somebody, you can't get them to do nothing? They'll be like, I'm fine, y'all have it. I mean, they are willing to endure, public ostracized. I'll just say that. And they don't care. You can't move them. No, you can't. No, you can't. But when it comes to something that they're interested in or something that they figured out, watch out there now. They will outrun you, outdo you, and everything. And y'all, I apologize for all this fidgeting, but I had these cute little shirts that I want to wear, and they be pulling and tugging and everything. So, but I'm aware. But anyway, okay, I digress. Focus. All right, and then the next one is understanding that the lazier you are when it comes to expending your mental energy on something, the more you get certain. I have found that one of the attributes that make the truly lazy so successful is they are certain. And certainty lives in the family with confidence, but certainty is a precursor of confidence. They get certain by doing all this mental work. Like I said before, the first thing they do is they focus. They get themselves into their being so that out of who they are and how they work, they don't do until they've taken care of that part. That is why when they find the pathway, the straightest one, they're building processes. A lot of us are not, I'm not going to claim that anymore because I have taken these attributes and I encourage you to as well. When we do something, we figure out a process. We figure out the straightest path to get to what we want, and we move fearlessly with it because we know we can tweak along the way. Instead of the fear of just running out there with no direction, no understanding, no certainty, no confidence that any of our actions will work. That's why the lazy win, because they already have one-upped everybody else by instilling and installing a certain degree of certainty in the plan and process, you know? And because of that, they become so effective and efficient. So if you want to save yourself some time, you're going to do like the lazy, and you're going to fixate so that you can function through your understanding, your curiosity about the situation. You're going to do both types. You're going to do the type for the sake of understanding, and you're going to do the type for the sake of producing. And then you're going to understand that through the processes, through the focus, through the finding, you are going to cut away, excise out a lot of unnecessary emotions. Remember, they don't get sidetracked by the stuff that causes us to stumble. They don't care about imposter syndrome. They don't care about all this analysis paralysis, because curiosity, unlike analysis, curiosity has a forward momentum. Curiosity lets you know when you have satisfied it. Instead of analysis that just gets you so wrapped up in the continuation of just gathering more information, because curiosity is going to help you to be more focused on getting to a point. Okay. And then the last one, and I'll wrap this up. Thank you so much, you guys, for hanging with me. I appreciate this, because I'm telling you, don't look at these folks and say, oh, they didn't do nothing. They just did this and that. No, they got in proper alignment to be who they were going to be. And thus they were able to release that minimum viable product, or do something that is not in the perfectionistic realm, while you or I might have still been trying to get it perfect because we're so busy about what people think about us or imposter syndrome. They don't care about that. Their purpose is to get it done, reap the benefits so they can do the next thing that they want to do. And you might say, oh, lazy people are self-serving. Well, shouldn't we all be? When I say self-serving, I mean self-serving for the sake of self-love, because when you are in self-love, it spills out to others, because you are going to treat others out of the love that you have for yourself. Okay, I'm not gonna be so philosophical about this right now, but I just need you to know that when you want to win like the lazy, you just do it, and get past that quote unquote lazy moniker. What that bad moniker is slothfulness. There's a difference. Slothful people don't want to work. Lazy people will outwork you when it's something that they're interested in, something that they want to get done, and they have the rally cry of done and the purpose of finished. Okay, so my time is up, y'all. I thank you for yours. This is Michelle, your big sis with Brilliant Quest. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And y'all, thank you so much. And I just want to say this as well. I don't take anything for granted. Every person who has encouraged me, who has liked a video, who has watched it to the end, thank you. I am humbled by this, because this is me starting over in my big age. And I was scared, but I decided to do it scared. And so I really appreciate you. If there is something that you want me to cover, put it in a comment, and if I'm able to, I'll look at it. So thank you so much, and I'm going to see you sooner than later. Bye.